Hi, this is Patrick Boren again. This morning I got a couple reports to look at. First one is from Gregory Flugaur of Peek Around the Corner. He's pulled up an article from the Arizona State University president, and he wants to talk about the fact that the president is saying that they're dedicated to the Pac-12, and he mentions that this is what you would expect him to say. So I'm going to play a little bit of his, also leave the links in the video. So here's Gregory first.
Discussions about Arizona State moving to the Big 12. CBS Sports reported last week that the Big 12 renewed contact with Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah, and that the four schools' interest in leaving for the Big 12 has picked up in recent weeks. This is Crow saying this now. Here, the next part. There have been no discussions with the Big 12 Conference on moving, Crow said. I mean, there's been discussions between everyone, everywhere, on all things related to where our conference is going, where stuff's going to end up, and what's happening. We are committed to the Pac-12. Again, Michael Crow is saying, we are committed to the Pac-12, his school. Put down your thoughts and your comments.
Okay, so now I'm going to switch to his next section.
Now, if you've been following us here, Peek Around the Corner, for many, many, many months, if you're part of the PATC community, Peek Around the Corner, we've been saying this. Arizona State is not the school that's going to move first. Arizona State Money Perch, our source, who's been nailing this story from the very beginning, has told us, expressed frustration, also told us we're not moving. It would have to be Arizona that moved first for us to go. And of course, we've heard Mac Olson on the Audible and other reports stating the true two targets of Big 12 poaching, possible poaching, is Arizona and Colorado. Colorado being the wild card, but Arizona being somewhat receptive, being somewhat nervous about the future of the Pac-12.
All right, so that was Gregory about the current issue. But right now what I want to do is I want to switch to Grayson Grundhoefer of Sikkim 365 Sports. I'll also link his crystal ball, and he's talking about the time frame, and I want to go ahead and play a short snippet from him because he tells you that the meeting for the Pac-12 is next week, and so they're going to get all the details of their media rights agreement or agreements next week. So that'll give them some time, because he says they're expected to have a full kind of round the hoof meeting on April 15th. So they'll have time to actually discuss what they get next week, and we'll learn. But let's go ahead and listen to Grayson as he talks about the time frame.
So let's look forward to a timeline here. So April 15th is kind of a date where George Kliavkoff is targeting, as far as, hey, we need to have everything kind of solidified and done by then. But I do think next week's meeting amongst the Pac-12 members will be a big one. And I'm expecting something to be addressed, whether it's a full new media deal or new information that Kliavkoff has gotten over the last few weeks, last couple months, really. I'm expecting that meeting to be huge, and I think there's going to be a lot of information from that. I think we're going to learn a lot about where the Pac-12 is at, and so I think right now it's important. So everything that you read on the Big 12 side is obviously going to be very pro Big 12, as far as the Pac-12 is doomed, and the Big 12 is definitely taking some schools. Everything you hear on the Pac-12 side is everything's fine. It's perfect. The deal is going to be great. It's going to be better than the Big 12's. Streaming is awesome. Various things. Both sides are, I think, off in some way. But what I will tell you is the more this has gone on and time has passed, it leads you to kind of this crossroad. And the crossroad to me is one of two things. I think the Pac-12 will have a deal on the table. I absolutely do. I think that it will be heavily focused on streaming. And you can feel how you want to feel about that. I don't love that, but I do think that it is an area where they can make revenue. I think ESPN will be involved to some extent. How much they will be involved is a big question, but they will be involved. They will put money into this as well. And that combination will get them a deal that I think will come up just short of the Big 12. Will those few millions of dollars per school be a difference for these schools? I'm not sure on that. That's going to be a decision that each school is going to have to make. But
okay, so as Grayson has now told us basically what I feel too as well. Once we know the details next week's meeting of the actual media rights and the schools know the details, that's where stuff's going to start hashing out. And once it hashes out, and if he's right, like Forbes is saying as well, that it's going to be a majority streaming. At this point, number one, it's a majority streaming. So if you're Colorado, you're thinking, man, I'm going to take Coach Prime and put him on non-prime time. And then number two is, I already know Oregon hired a president who is pro Big Ten, came from the Big Ten, and plans most likely planning to move Oregon to the Big Ten. After all, they and Washington have both met with the Big Ten. So they're gonna this agreement, I would not expect to be a long one, maybe 3 to 5 years. And so that means this is all pro-Oregon, pro-Washington, just to hold them over till they move. So if I'm one of the Four Corners schools and I see a mostly streaming deal, less than the Big 12, and I know Oregon and Washington are heading out, man, I'm like, okay, whatever, we're leaving this conference, and we're going to a place that we know that's going to be going on into the future. More than 4 or 5 years. All right, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in this, and we'll see next week. So this was all about finding out, hey, this news is coming down the pike, and we should see next week how all this is going to break down. But those are my thoughts on this. I appreciate y'all. Hey, if you like this, please like the video, and also leave any comments in the comment section. And if you really like the videos that I've been doing, go ahead and subscribe. All it does is help get more people to see it. Appreciate all you guys. Take care.
Big 12 open for business. There is no doubt the Big 12 is open for business. We will leave no stone unturned to drive value for the conference.